Good Wednesday morning. This is the Ohio AgDat, broadcasting from the Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF and Veltima Fungicide, the proven #1 for the toughest core diseases with long-lasting residual when you need to be confident your fungicide will perform. I'm Joel Penorwood. Good to be with you today, and don't forget, later today we'll be broadcasting from Union County and Burns Farms for our 4th stop on our Feeding Farmers Tour, sponsored by Paradise Energy Solutions and presented by Ag Revolution. Disrupting traditional farm service by putting farmers first, they bring the dealership to you with mobile on-farm service for all brands. Supported by Fenton and Massey Ferguson as your full-service agriculture partner. Looking forward to that stop. Then coming up tomorrow, don't forget it's our next monthly check-in at Farm Credit Mid-America. Then on Friday, we travel with Dusty Sonnenberg as he travels to Seneca County to visit with Brett Margraf about the changes his family is making to their farm with livestock and regenerative agriculture. The Field Leader Roadshow, sponsored by the Ohio Soybean Council and Soybean Checkoff. Then coming up next Monday, we check in with Ohio Corn and Wheat about the great work being done to represent Ohio's grain farmers at the state and national levels. It's a busy calendar, so stay tuned in, and no less busy on the news front. We start with the latest readings from the Buckeye Temp Tracker, which shows Ohio soils continuing to run well behind last year's warm-up pace as the roller coaster of soil temps continues. The Buckeye Temp Tracker is brought to you by B&A Genetics, real service, real results. Across the 4 Ohio locations tracked by our team, average soil temperatures in both corn stubble and bean stubble checked in at just under 50 degrees as of yesterday. That's about 16 to 17 degrees cooler than the same week a year ago. In Ottawa County, Sheldon Miller reported 50 degrees in corn stubble and 51 in beans. Brandon Moneybreak in Preble County saw 50 in corn and 48 degrees in bean stubble. Andy Hollenbach in Licking County measured 48 degrees in corn stubble and 51 in bean stubble, while Tyler Arders in Medina County reported 51 degrees in corn stubble and 49 in bean stubble. And don't forget, we take these ratings every week at the same time in the same fields, and compared to last week, we're about 10 degrees cooler all around. And we have yet to reach back to the highs that our temperatures read back on April 14th. It'll be interesting to see as the season progresses along how those crops that have been in the ground for a while, and as they've had to battle some cooler temperatures along the way, how they'll turn out. And we'll talk more about soybean plants and potential for freeze damage later on in the broadcast. First, though, it's time for the rest of your news feed rundown. The Ohio Ecological Food and Farm Association has launched its 2026 Farm Tour Series. They've got free events scheduled across the state all through December. Tours will highlight grazing, soil health, organic grains, agrivoltaics, urban agriculture, and more. Stops planned in locations including Pataskala, Worcester, Plain City, Bellefontaine, and Columbus area communities. More information online at ohioagdat.com. On the national side, the White House has delayed a proposed plan that would temporarily waive beef import tariffs as the Trump administration looks for ways to reduce retail beef prices. Beef groups have pushed back on the proposal, warning that increased imports could pressure domestic cattle prices, and we are hearing of some pretty impressive numbers for day-old calves at the auction barns. USDA's latest WASDE report, released yesterday, delivered the biggest surprise in wheat, with sharply lower production estimates sending wheat futures limit higher, and that means up 45 cents on the day. Corn and soybean numbers were mostly neutral, though traders continue watching possible China trade developments closely. Something else we're watching closely, that's the weather, and let's check in on the latest thanks to Seed Consultants, simply better performance, online at seedconsultants.com. Ryan Martin.
A damp start to your Wednesday across the Buckeye State. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin with that Ohio Ag Weather Update. Scattered showers are trying to work through from northwest to southeast. Now, we're already done with moisture, or will be done very, very soon in northwest Ohio. It probably takes into midday and early afternoon for these showers to clear the rest of the state. But they will, and clouds will give way to sunshine before sunset. We are cooler today thanks to strong north flow behind this system moving through. Drier and warmer tomorrow with good sunshine and good evaporation. I'll give you a large part of your Friday that is precipitation free, but I think in the southwestern parts of the state we may have to watch for a few hit and miss scattered showers late afternoon Friday. Bigger chances of rain going through Saturday and Sunday, and starting next week off, Monday and Tuesday, with rain with additional showers and thunderstorms through Wednesday and Thursday over the southern half of Ohio. So plenty of moisture in our forecast over the long haul. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thank you, Ryan. And we've heard around the state about some concerns with regard to frost damage, specifically on soybeans. Our own Joe Everett checks in.
Cold temperatures had many Ohio farmers checking soybean fields for freeze damage after some areas dropped in the upper 20s. But Ohio State University Extension specialists say it's important not to panic too quickly. Right after a freeze, soybean leaves can look wilted and damaged, but experts recommend waiting at least 2 to 3 days before evaluating stands. If the growing point below the cotyledon is still healthy, the plant can often recover and push out new growth. Researchers have also seen freeze damage vary depending on field conditions. No-till fields, cover crop acres, and areas with heavier residue tended to show more injury because residue can trap cooler air near the soil surface. For soybeans that haven't emerged yet, there's likely less concern. Soil temperatures change much slower than air temperatures, and OSU researchers say a short, cold snap usually slows emergence more than it causes outright seed damage. The big takeaway, scouting fields carefully and giving soybeans a few warmer days before making replant decisions could save growers unnecessary expense this spring. To learn more, you can find this full article today at ohioagnet.com. Reporting for the Ohio AgNet, I'm Joe Everett.
Before we go to a break, we do want to pass along a piece of sad information this morning. The Ohio agricultural community is mourning the loss of longtime ag leader Paul Detweiler. He died this past Sunday in a tractor rollover accident. Detweiler, a Union County resident, spent decades leading the ST Genetics Ohio Heifer Center and was inducted earlier this spring even into the Ohio State University Dairy Science Hall of Service for his work supporting the dairy industry and mentoring future ag leaders. He was a larger-than-life figure, and his wife, Shelley, is our food columnist for Ohio's Country Journal. Our thoughts and prayers are with them. Again, that's for Paul Detweiler of Union County. He was 60 years old. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Tyler Miller, a soybean farmer from Crawford County. When I grow soybeans, I'm not just raising a crop, I'm creating fuel at home. Biodiesel adds nearly $2 to our bushel price and strengthens our energy independence. If you're not using biodiesel on your farm, now's the time. If you're not sure how to get it, ask your local fuel supplier. Ready to turn last year's crop into this year's fuel? Learn more at soyohio.org.
This message is brought to you by Ohio soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Wake up, Ohio farmers! Ohio's Country Journal is bringing the coffee to you. We're stopping by rural coffee shops, diners, and your favorite morning gathering spots across the state. And while we're there, the first 25 folks through the door get a free cup of coffee, a limited edition Ohio's Country Journal mug, and the latest issue of OCJ, all on us. Want us to visit your hometown hangout? Head to ocj.com/coffee shop and sign up your local spot today. Brought to you by Leist Mercantile and Ohio's Country Journal, your source for Ohio farm news.
Your farm news on the Ohio AgNet continues. On the other end of the line with us, Doug Tenney of Leist Mercantile. He's joining us to help recap Tuesday's WASDE reports from USDA, the May version of the World Ag Supply and Demand Estimates reports, which gave a boost to markets. Doug, what's the recap?
I was excited to see the closes that we had here today, Joel, when you talk about beans being up double digits. But I think the most exciting thing was that seeing the wheat was up multiple double digits. We had the Kansas City wheat in several of the months up the 45-cent limit. The July Chicago wheat was also up the 45-cent limit, and with production down, especially in Kansas, Texas, Oklahoma. We're seeing hard red winter wheat production down from last year. All winter wheat production down about 424 million bushels. Winter wheat production down about 350 million bushels. So I think we're seeing some exciting things happen with the grains. I think we're really beginning to see the markets come alive with what we're seeing. It was exciting to talk about the report, or before the pre-report, with others from the standpoint that in January we had a pretty negative report with corn down 20-some cents that day, and it's exciting to see things back here today. In fact, we're seeing January next year beans today close up a dime at $12.16 and a quarter, as it made new contract highs today at $12.21. The March 27 corn here today closed up almost 4 cents at $5.15 and a quarter, and that's less than a nickel within its contract high. So I think we're seeing some exciting times for producers, especially if they've done literally nothing yet for 26 corn and beans. I think these are some great points to be starting.
When's the last time you remember wheat going up by the limit?
I didn't take a look, but I would have to say it's been years. So
It's been
exciting.
a moment. Yeah.
It's been a moment. It's kind of interesting that wheat at times kind of leads things, and then at times it goes into the background. And in fact, in the last 3 to 6 months, with all the tariff talk and so forth, I mean, we've obviously seen where fundamentals play a role. We've seen a part where technicals play a role, but we've seen I hate to say the word never land, but we're in a point that we've never seen before. I think in terms of we've seen technicals come into play, we've seen fundamentals come into play, and we've seen the algorithm guys come into play in terms of what they do or don't do or exiting or getting in. But we're in a different arena here as far as the headline trading, and it's like when the headline comes out, it's like, does anybody believe it? And that to me is something different and unique that's extremely hard to trade and to know what to do when. I think it's important for producers to lock in profits when they can. And if things go higher, just say I get a chance to sell grains higher at that time. So we go from there.
What do you keep an eye on the horizon next couple of weeks, next couple of months?
Well, I think the big thing is going to be the weather. We're going to start to trade the weather here as we get past the end of May. And I think also what people may not be thinking a lot about, but something I want to just mention is that with fertilizer prices, the concern that I had was that we're going to have availability here in the U.S. And while that might not have been the prices they wanted to pay or something higher than what they had expected to pay, I don't think there was a vast shortage of fertilizers available. But I think it's going to be, I wouldn't say impossible, but it's going to be very difficult for the corn yield to be as strong as what we saw last year. And I think that's going to come into play here as we go through time.
Doug Tenney of Lice Mercantile joining us, recapping a bit of the May WASDE report, but also helping us look forward to see what could be on the horizon. Doug, thank you so much.
Thanks, Joel. Thanks for the opportunity, and good planting weather for everyone, and be safe this spring season as always.
Stay tuned to the Ohio AgNet. We'll take a look at market numbers coming up next.
Looking for heavy equipment but don't know where to buy? Purple Wave Auction has you covered. Always online and always no reserve. It's your destination for construction or ag equipment ready to work. We even sell semis, trailers, and fleet equipment for your operation. Best part? It's free to join. Head to purplewave.com. That's purplewave.com. Sign up for a free account and start bidding today. Purple Wave Auction, the easiest and most straightforward way to buy and sell equipment.
Time to talk the latest markets on the Ohio AgNet, and this morning's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to bring a brand new soybean crush facility to Upper Sandusky, Ohio. Learn more about marketing your soybeans with LDC at 574-566-2113. Here's Ryan.
Grain markets finished higher on Tuesday. WASDE report was out, but honestly, on corn and soybeans, the WASDE report was a little bit of a snooze fest. Wheat markets is where it's at. USDA taking a step and lowering wheat production by quite a handy little bit. The old crop ending stocks down minusculely, but production for this crop year dropped at 258 million bushels. That dropped ending stocks about 70 million. The wheat markets were on fire. Kansas City wheat up over 40 cents, locked limit higher. Chicago wheat was up almost 40 cents as well, or better nearby. And then we saw Minneapolis wheat up 30 cents. Now on to the corn and soybean side. Corn at 26.27. Ending stocks were dropped a little bit. Production was bumped. Yield was bumped. That was odd to have that happen so far. Soybeans mostly lower on the ending stocks and production. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Ryan. Let's take a look at market numbers overnight, how things are shaping up there, thanks to Seed Consultants. Simply better performance. Online at seedconsultants.com. Quite a change in tone overnight. July corn down a penny to $4.79 as December new crop corn off half a cent to $5.01.5. July soybeans down 2 1/4 to $12.24.5. New crop beans off a cent to $12.04. July wheat down 8 1/2 to $6.70.5, marching back some of those big gains on Tuesday. September wheat down 9 1/2 to $6.82. On the livestock side, June cattle down $1.70 to a price of $247.70 per hundredweight. August feeder Feeder cattle closed Tuesday at $356.55, down $5.75, and June lean hogs down $1.80 to $98.43. Class 3 milk for June sitting down a nickel, $17.18 is their price. This is the Ohio AgNet. I'm Joel Penorwood. Thanks for tuning in.